Thanks, Hamish, and thanks for your time, Hamish. Well, Adam, I should say, we're about half hour from the game. You always ask yourself the question, the fans, are they ready?
Yeah. Look, it's a good question. This is actually a bit of a different group this week, believe it or not. We've got a few younger players in the side, and the energisers have traditionally been people like Maston and Wellingham and Hill and these types, and we've got some younger players in the side. So there's a different feel today. Whether it's good or bad, we'll find out next hour or so.
And you're one of the two teams, obviously, that come out of their own time zone, a different time zone from Perth. How does that affect what happens in the day or two before the game for you guys?
Yeah, it does change a little bit for us. We have to come a few days early, so trying to get the right balance between do we train over here or do we rest them up. And second half of the year, we've tried to do a captain's run in Perth and come over on a Friday night as we did this week and give them a bit of recovery time tomorrow. So that's the phase we're in at the moment. And what I've been told, over the last 30 years, they've tried every type of combination to get it right.
You try and play games with the time clock, and you on Melbourne time in your watches or something?
Look, it doesn't sound like much, and it sounds a bit pedantic that it's 2 hours, but it does affect your sleep and when you wake up, and affects the coaches. So I can imagine the players getting them in the right time zone. For me, it doesn't. Whatever they want to do to get themselves right, but that extra day probably allows them to prepare in the best way they can.
Tell me about the overt aggression in games. We saw the game and the Crows on Friday night. They were really aggressive around the footy, not only at the ball and at the tackle, around it. And you always sort of think the most aggressive team tends to win the game. How do you try and achieve that today?
Look, it's always a focus. I'm sure it's a focus for both sides today. For us and for many clubs, it's can you sustain it? And the start of the game is always pretty hot. We've definitely got to focus on that today. I think I wrote aggression on the board.
Yeah.
But our ability to do it for 4 quarters is something we're working through. We haven't been consistent in that area personally, so that's one of our focuses today.
What are the things you'd like to be seeing in the actions, the behaviours in the first 5 or 10 minutes to say we're early on today?
Oh, look, I think you can see pressure. Yeah, you can see it with how you defend, your tackle pressure. And also, there's pressure in the game with the ball as well. What's your preferred ball movement style for the particular opposition? And Collingwood press really hard. They really come straight in your face. And if you get through it, you look all right. And sometimes you look like you're jumping out of the boat because their pressure's really good. And last time we played them, I think they had 116 tackles, and their pressure was elite, and we couldn't handle it. So that's our challenge today.
And the Sam Mitchell, not experiment, but the recruitment, he's obviously not playing today. Firstly, how has the partnering, I guess, of Matthew Pritchard? I always wondered whether the two of those would complement each other.
Well, look, I see them as 2 different players, but I understand the commentary around the fact they're both in the same side and what does that bring. And no one ever asked me when we win. When we lose, it's probably the first question.
Yeah.
But today he's going to spend a week. He spent a week with us in the coaches' preparation and the match committee and medical and selection, all those things, and he'll spend the day in the box. Expectations aren't too high on that. I think you early on coaches tend to watch the play a lot, and so he'll be there for the experience, and he's also there as an emergency as well.
And the Shaver Shop player transformation, we do this every week, and we thought we would talk about Elliot Yeo, who's 9th in the Coaches Award, so you've obviously think he's had a good year. Can you tell us about him? One of the things, he has been a really good player, but you're never quite sure where he's going to play, where he's going to be positioned.
He's been really good this year for us. We put him down back at the start of the season and rotated him through the midfield, and last year he had an indifferent season with just getting the ball and having an impact on the game, so he seems to have settled in pretty well in that role. He's played his 100th game for us tonight, along with Kennedy's 200th and Luke Shuey's 150th. So he's been pretty important to us. He's probably been our best player this year.
And the other, I guess, real utility type player is McGovern. But I guess with Darling and Kennedy and Vardy Petrie, he's going to have to be back, isn't he?
Yeah, look, our preference is that he plays back. We've been without Joko for 5 or 6 weeks, and we tried him forward on occasions. It's indifferent type of results. What it has done is taken away our strength as a back line, and last week we played Fremantle on a pretty sound back 6, and it felt a bit more settled, so we'll try and keep him back for the rest of the year.
So the pressure around the footy to make Collingwood kick it sort of long and high, because you intercept Marcus, McGovern, Barras, and Yeo when he's down there have been really impressive.
Yeah, look, if there's good pressure on the game and up the ground, they can get to work, and our players, we don't really play with an extra. They normally just read the play pretty well, so if there's no pressure, then you can get exposed, and that's a challenge for us today, and a number one priorities. Can we get it done in the midfield and get enough supply in our front half?
And just the Collingwood team, Daniel Wells got an amazing win-loss. When he's played, Collingwood have won 5, lost 2. When he hasn't played, it's won 8. So he seems to be a difference. I mean, you would know those numbers, I'm sure. Does that mean Mark Hutchins might get the job?
Oh, he might. I played a long time with Daniel at North, so I know what he's capable of. And he played 83 minutes last week and kicked 2 goals and had 18 possessions. So he may need a bit of attention, but there's a few others there as well.
Yeah, and Josh Kennedy's sort of back in after missing a bit with that injury. He and it seems to be he's fairly consistent, but Lacroix and Darling are the ones that tend to be the elevators. The guys, they can have really good games. We know Lacroix kicked 12 for you about 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But they're the ones that can be up or down depending on the day.
Oh, yeah, yes and no. Look, JK reminds me a lot of, the Franklin type of player. They just attract so much ball, and sometimes we can overuse his options, and because he comes at the ball, sometimes it's a risky kick. It might be a corridor kick or a kick that's just not on, and it's at the detriment to the rest of the forwards. So what the last 6 weeks has done for Jack Darling is it's given him a bit more presence as a forward. So hopefully we can see the combination, because when both of them are up, we're pretty dangerous.
Thanks, Simmo. Good luck today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Lee.